Yay, finally it's spring, or it's supposed to be. At least that's what the calendar says. Spring, a time of rebirth, renewal, some hope, and new beginnings. Spring is the time to plan what our gardens will be like this year. I'm blown away when I look back on photos of this garden and realize how many changes I've made. It's crazy, but there'll be beauty all around us soon, not snow. And would we have, so much to look forward to in spring if we didn't have winter first, I guess. Do you have a favorite spring flowering shrub? I'm going to talk about some really favorite spring flowering shrubs that'll add color to your garden first thing in the spring, in no particular order. Spring shrubs are great for cut flowers too, don't forget. So I'm going to talk about some of these, but there are many trees and perennials that are also great for spring bloom. So let's get started with lilacs. Lilacs, does anything say spring like lilacs? The smell brings us back to our childhood memories. They come in of many, many varieties, but they really need the cold of winter. So here in Connecticut, they grow great, and that smell, wow. They love full sun, and frankly, though, after they bloom, they're really uneventful, and sometimes they're subject to powdery mildew. I suggest that if you tend to have a late frost, choose varieties that bloom a little bit later so the new buds don't freeze. Be sure that you don't prune lilacs until after they flower. So I have quite a few varieties. I have Miss Kim, Charles Jolly, Mange, Sensation, and I added last year a reblooming lilac called Bloomerang Dark Purple. Of course, they make great cut flowers. We all know that. And there are new varieties coming onto the market all the time. They're typically the zones 3 through 7. So pick your favorite. They come in purples, whites, all sorts of colors these days. So let's back up a little bit. One of the very first things that'll bloom late winter, early spring is the hemamelis, the witch hazel. Typically zones 5 through 8. Full sun, part shade, well-drained soil. It blooms, like I said, very late winter with these spidery flowers in shades of yellow, orange, or red. And the plant has gorgeous fall color. We had a really large one that was probably in too wet a location. We almost lost it and completely, just it died. But we moved it, so we're trying to save it. But the fall color on the witch hazels is just breathtaking. Definitely a great four-season shrub. Another super early shrub is the Forsythia, which you see everywhere in late winter, early spring. Here's a picture of it down at the Bronx River when I was at New York Botanical Gardens a few years ago. So I don't have a ton of experience with Forsythia, but I just got a new variety called Show Off from Proven Winners. It's got bright yellow flowers that, certainly signal spring for many of us. This one has flowers from the tip all the way down to the base of the plant. So it makes excellent cut flowers. They bloom on old growth. So you want to trim them only again after bloom is finished. And that's very typical for almost all spring flowering shrubs like deutzias and viburnums and lilacs. Same with the Forsythia. So this one is zone 5 through 8, gets like 5 to 6 feet tall and wide, takes sun to part shade to shade. Very early spring flowers, going to grow best in sun to part sun. I'm looking forward to adding this. I planted it last year, so this is only its second season. I'm hoping it puts on a little growth. It was really slow to get going last year. I hope I have it in the right location. When it comes to springtime, the viburnums really top the list of must-have spring shrubs. There are many varieties to choose from. I have both the Korean spice viburnum, the Viburnum carolisi, and a double file viburnum called Mariesi. I see a pattern. The popular snowball viburnum, I mistakenly put mine too close to the Ninebarks, and I'm sorry. You know what they say: right plant, right place, right plant, or right place, right plant, right place. It's a sweet, spicy smell with great fall foliage. Zones typically 4 through 7 for this one, and then the double file viburnum is zone 5 through 8. Absolutely gorgeous fall color on both of them, and beautiful, beautiful spring scented foliage. Both deciduous shrubs. Um, the Korean spice viburnum gets like 4 to 6 feet tall. The double file viburnums, it's not, I mean, the same thing. It's sort of like 6 to 8 feet tall, but they can get pretty wide. Um, Great choices. Another big category is probably like the salixes, the willows. I have a couple of French pussy willows, four exactly, and they have like a grayish pink catkin, which is a little different, but they can get pretty tall, like 15 to 20 feet tall. They're hardy down to 30 below, so zones 4 through 8. They bloom very early, like March to April. Mine have already been blooming for quite a while already. They do like wet soil. Now, the other willow that I have, the dappled willow, Salix integra, Hakuro nishiki. Again, I have quite a few of these. Zone 5 through 7. They bloom very early. They great all season interest. They can handle clay soil, which is good for me. They get about 4 to 6 feet tall. I find I'm cutting mine back quite often, but they also like wet soil. So I try and have them in places where water is not going to be an issue I'm constantly worrying about. Now, Hakuro nishiki, called Japanese willow or a variegated willow, is typically a little bit more compact, but it has beautiful foliage that kind of emerges pink in the spring. Narrow lance-shaped leaves, like 4 inches long, very pretty, even early summer, but all season long. Looks really nice. The stems turn really bright red in the wintertime, so great winter interest also. And here it is in all its winter glory. It just got brighter and brighter and brighter. I had a neighbor the other day who came over and said, "What is that, like with the flaming tips?" Cool, really cool. So if you've followed me for any length of time, you know that the Ninebarks are one of my top favorite plants behind Spireas. I have quite a few different varieties now at this point. I think like 6 different varieties. There's basically zones 3 through 8. They get 4 to 6 feet tall. Mine definitely outperformed. They're like dry to medium soil. They have a gorgeous white flower in the spring that's got like a fluffy cluster of white blooms. The bark is gorgeous. The fall color is just mind-blowing. They tolerate clay soil. They're a great hedge. Zones 3 through 8. All kinds of different colored foliage. I love the Ninebarks. And you can't beat the exfoliating bark. It's gorgeous. And again, you know my favorite shrub is Spirea ogon. There are many Spireas that are great for the spring. Ogon is zones 4 through 8, gets like 3 to 5 feet tall, loves full sun, great fall color, resists deer. The great thing about ogon is the gorgeous spring flowers that then the leaves turn this gorgeous golden yellow. And even into the fall, the leaves that have a willow-like appearance turn shades of orange. This plant provides interest all 4 seasons. And even in my garden today with snow on it, the structure looks beautiful. You're probably so tired of me talking about Spirea ogon. Sorry, it's my favorite. But again, if ogon is not your favorite, you might try something like Double Play Big Bang from Proven Winners, zone 3 through 8, part sun to sun. Again, beautiful spring flowers, colorful foliage as it emerges, great fall color. But there are many, many Spireas that bloom early in the spring into the summer. They're just endless varieties. I've lost count of how many different Spireas are on my property. Now, a shrub that I highly recommend if you have never seen one, smelled one, or whatever, is the Philadelphus, called mock orange, zones 4 through 7. beautiful. The scent is insane. It's a dense, rounded, suckering, deciduous shrub. It's got nice, stiff branches, and it has abundant clusters of very fragrant, cup-shaped, four-petal white flowers. The fragrance is just legendary, and it can grow like 10 to 12 feet tall, likes full sun to light shade, average medium moisture, well-drained soil, great for shrub borders, foundation plantings, and it's generally pest-free, and rabbits and deer stay away from it. It blooms on last year's wood, so make sure, again, like the lilacs and the forsythias and stuff, that you prune it after it flowers and not before. I have one in my garden. It's now a few years old, and it's really starting to put on a show. Of course, we can't talk about spring without talking about the azaleas and the rhododendrons. So azaleas, of course, are a favorite in southern gardens. This is Azalea Way at the New York Botanical Gardens. I have some white ones, and here it is. Here's a rhododendron from the Mount Cuba Center in Delaware. Azaleas are available both evergreen and deciduous varieties, and an azalea is a rhododendron. And they come in all sorts of different colors with their star-shaped blooms. Some prefer sun, mine are in part shade with moist, well-drained soil. Rhododendrons have really large, giant clusters of flowers, again, in a variety of colors like the azaleas. And their foliage is evergreen, so they're great for year-round interest. Typically zones 4 through 9, but check your zone. I'm going to try and go quicker through the rest of these. So I have a couple of deutzias. I have Yuki Cherry Blossom and the Yuki, the white one. And the flowers cover the entire length of the stem. Excellent low-growing, mounding habit. A nice filler foliage for arrangements. Very showy clusters. Like I said, pink or white flowers. Very fragrant. Full to partial sun. Well-drained soil. And again, cut it after it blooms. Another nice shrub to consider is the calacanthus. I have Michael Lindsay, also known as the sweet shrub. It's got a nice sort of apple smell. The flowers are kind of an unusual, like red-brown bracts, and has great fall color. I'm finding mine suckers a lot, so be careful where you put this. Of course, you've heard me talk endlessly about the Japanese maples, Acer palmatums. I have a couple of them. I have Koto no Ito, typically zones 5 through 9, but again, check your zone. Full sun to part shade. They're gorgeous in the spring, fall, so they're beautiful all year long. They make great specimen plants. Prune them during the dormant season. I guarantee when you're out and about in the springtime, you're going to see a variety of spireas, the bridal wreath spireas. I have a variety called Niponica snowmound, but typically the Spirea prunifolia is the one that is called the bridal wreath spirea. Clusters of pure white flowers in mid to late spring, zones 5 through 8, full sun, well drained. Mine gets afternoon sun only. But it does fine. It grows like a weed. I usually have to cut it back every single year. Again, cut back after it flowers. Another shrub is a peony, of course. This is an Ito peony called Canary Brilliance. I have quite a few different peonies. They're easy to grow. Don't plant the eyes too deep or you won't have it really won't bloom. Peonies are a great option. Another option is an Andromeda. I don't have Andromedas. I have clients that have them. And another one is Aronia. I do have that. I planted it last year. Aronia is zones 3 through 9. It blooms on old wood, blooms spring through fall. Now, my beef with it is, it says it's like deer and rabbit resistant. Rabbits ate mine to the ground twice last year. I had to cut off a picture from Proven Winners because the rabbits destroyed mine. Some other plants you could consider are the elderberries. They also bloom in the spring. They are zones 4 through 7. They get like 4 to 7 feet tall, adaptable to most well-drained soils. Something else you might consider is a Weigela. I just planted spilled wine last year. You could consider mountain laurels or quince. Fothergilla are some other options. So if you're looking for spring flowering shrubs, I suggest you go to your garden centers in the spring so you can actually see what they look like blooming. I hope this gave you a couple of ideas that maybe things you hadn't thought of before. Again, I garden in Zone 6 in Northwest Connecticut, and we're expecting 12 to 18 inches of snow tonight. This is Monday the 13th. Really hard to believe that spring starts this coming weekend. Nuts. It's nuts. Thank you so much for watching. If this is your first time here, please subscribe, hit that like button. It really does make a difference. If you're a regular viewer, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your support. I've been trying to start linking some of my favorite products. Head over there if you're looking for something in particular. And I'm always open to suggestions, things you might want to talk about. I've got some upcoming videos. I'm going to try to talk about plants that hopefully will keep rabbits out of your garden, maybe some deer-resistant shrubs and perennials, and then some pollinators. I don't know in what order I'm going to do those, but just a couple of upcoming things.